AdTech has its own version of the missing dollar problem. An advertiser spends money, a publisher receives less money, and a long chain of intermediaries sit in between, and everybody starts arguing about where the differences occur. Is it fees? Is it value? Is it waste? Or is it theft? But before you can answer that, you need to do three things. You need to trace the dollar, you need to classify the dollar, and then you need to decide whether the dollar was well spent. And that sounds simple, but an old riddle about three pirates, an innkeeper, and a bellhop shows why people get it wrong all the time. You may have heard a version of this riddle before, but stay with me because I assure you the AdTech version has a few extra characters. So here we go. Three pirates check into an inn late at night, and the innkeeper charges them 30 gold coins. So they pay 10 gold coins each, and they head upstairs. A short while later, the innkeeper realizes that he's overcharged them. The room should only cost 25 gold coins, and so he gives 5 gold coins to the bellhop to return to the pirates. On the way upstairs, the bellhop realizes that there are 3 pirates. He has 5 gold coins, and so he pockets 2 of the gold coins and gives 1 each back to the pirates. So let's do the math. Each pirate originally paid 10 coins, got 1 back, and so they each paid 9 coins. 3 times 9 is 27 gold coins. And the bellhop kept 2 coins. 27 plus 2 is 29. So where did the missing pirate gold go? The answer is simple. Nothing is really missing. The riddle relies on a classical mathematical misdirection. The trap is in adding the bellhop's stolen coins to the 27 coins when the 27 already includes the 2. The actual accounting is 25 coins to the innkeeper, 2 to the bellhop, and 3 returned to the pirates, which totals 30 gold coins. Now, if this brain teaser is an analogy for AdTech, I'm sure that people have different ways of telling it, but the most obvious is that the people who are spending the money are the pirates, so they are the advertisers. The innkeeper is the holder of the inventory, so he is the publisher or the app owner. And the bellhop is a proxy for all intermediaries, DSPs, SSPs, measurement companies, etc. There are a lot of different ways that this story can go, but let's start with the bellhop. In the story, he takes 2 gold coins without telling anyone, either the pirates or the innkeeper. And so this is the equivalent of either non-transparent fees or worse, outright theft. If the story had either the pirates tipping the bellhop 2 gold coins or the innkeeper paying the bellhop 2 gold coins because he carried their chests up 5 flights of stairs, then it wouldn't be an interesting logic problem, but generally all parties would agree that the exchange was fairly paid. So before you argue whether the bellhop took too much, first you need to understand, did the bellhop take an undisclosed fee? Or did he receive a tip? Did he earn a commission? Did he capture margin? Or did he just steal the coins? And a lot of people who complain about the AdTech value chain like to say things like, it used to be that advertisers would just give their money to an agency who would give it to a publisher, and all of that original dollar ended up as working media. And those same people point to conference presentations where presenters have asserted that of every dollar that an advertiser spends, less than 30% goes to working media. And by that, they mean the display advertising that sits on the publisher's page. And the assumption here is that all of the money that isn't working media is wasted. And by working media, they mean the raw inventory, the actual roof over the pirate's head, and they assume that everything else is a scam. So if you came into digital media and you looked at Terry Kawaja's Lumiscape of all of the various components and companies in the AdTech supply chain that sit between the buyer and the seller, it includes measurement, verification, fraud, buyer tech, seller tech, exchanges, and creative management. In the pirate story, this is the equivalent of a bellhop, a concierge, a valet, a bartender, a housekeeper, all of whom want a gold coin to help you with your stay. So let's continue with the pirate analogy. They're assuming that the pirates each pay 10 gold coins and that the various hotel staff are taking 7 from them, 1 each. However, from my perspective, the key of the story isn't about the worthiness of the players or even the amount of money that's taken. It's really about the need for clarity on what's paid to whom and whether it had any value. In the pirate story, the bellhop stole the money. In the AdTech, the harder question is not often, did someone steal? It's, did the service justify the fee? The question is not, where did the money go? The better question is, what did the coin buy? And did that purchase improve the outcome? And one thing that's often overlooked in the story is the pirates were prepared to pay 10 gold coins for the room. The fact that they got the room for cheaper is nice, but also disconnected from their overall willingness to pay. So again, if we imagine that we're living in the Terry Kawaja Lumiscape world of AdTech, where only 3 gold goes to the hotel, and 7 goes to the combination of the valet, the concierge, housekeeping, etc., then the pirates shouldn't really care if they get the room and the services that they expected. But they should care if the extra 7 coins buys them nothing, whether it's distorted incentives, reduced quality, or hiding the economics in a way that they did not agree to. The hotel should probably care. They should probably care a lot because they're only getting 3 gold pieces. But if the advertisers are the pirates and the hotel is the publisher, the interesting thing is that we often see the advertisers complaining more about the inefficiency than the publishers. And I think that sometimes that's because they think that someone, in this case the bellhop, is stealing from them rather than them paying a fee or tipping them. So in reality, we continue to see increasing inefficiencies in AdTech. And if we didn't, honestly, advertisers wouldn't spend and all those intermediaries would be out of business. The challenge is accounting for what actually happened to all of the media spend. To stay with our pirate story, it can be hard to add up the spend. In the same way in AdTech, it is hard to work out how much each intermediary is taking and for what. What is the value of the media? What is the value of the targeting? And if a dynamic creative is used, what is that worth? And so the reason that I sometimes moan is that the problem of who is paying who is actually much more complicated. And it's more complicated because of the different currencies involved. Some of the parties, some of the intermediaries, take a share of the media revenue or a share of the gross revenue. Some take a flat CPM payment based on the number of impressions, and some change the economics based on the amount of spend. So in the pirate story, this is the equivalent of the bellhop wanting a gold coin, the housekeeper wanting 3 silver coins, and the bartender wanting 3 pieces of 8, whatever that might be. So as someone who acts in an advisory capacity, helping companies make more money, I often spend a lot of my time asking who, what, and why questions about the flow of money. Where is the money going and why? What are the terms of the agreement? And what is the currency that is actually being used for the calculation? Is it net CPM, gross CPM, or some kind of flat fee? Honestly, if it were all pirate gold, it would probably be much more straightforward. So, if I have advice for anyone in the AdTech chain, it would be to first understand what you are paying for in terms of working media, meaning what is the clearing price in the auction. Then, instead of immediately jumping to feeling like you're getting ripped off because too much money is being taken away from working media, I would encourage you to step back and spend more time and energy on the problem of who is getting paid for what and whether those components are worth it. So to summarize, one of the main things you should be thinking about if you are the publisher or the advertiser in the story is whether you accept that you need to pay the fees to the bellhop, the valet, the housekeeper, or whether you believe that one of them is essentially stealing from you. If you can see the fees, then either accept them with good grace or try to go directly around them. But a word of caution, in doing so, you may be giving up services that you valued. Targeting, optimization, measurement, fraud controls, identity, workflow, reporting, frequency management, or creative decisioning. In the pirate story, going direct may remove the bellhop, but then you need to carry your own bags, find your own room, verify the innkeeper, negotiate your own rate, and keep your own receipts. If money is genuinely disappearing through waste, opacity, poor incentives, or fraud, then go find the missing gold. But do not confuse those things. And this is where a lot of AdTech conversations go wrong. They start with the outrage before they've done the accounting. The better discipline is simple. Trace the dollar, classify the dollar, and then decide whether the dollar was well spent. I'm James Deaker, I am the Yield Doctor, and I work with clients on issues like these to help them make more money from their digital assets.